Wow, it's time for another show full of tips and ideas from the sales growth leadership expert, Dean Akers. Known for his experience in hyper-growing companies and creating cultures for high-performance teams, here's Dean.
Well, welcome to your Sales and Leadership Ninja Show. I'm your head ninja, Dean Akers, and every week I bring you a rant to stimulate your thinking in the realm of sales and or leadership. Today's show is about ninja selling. I'm asked all the time, Dean, you refer to your sales teams as ninjas, and you've had ninjas, and blah, 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 blah. What do you mean by that? Well, it all started years ago when I saw a movie called Karate Kid. And when I saw the movie Karate Kid, the fundamental was that the sensei, the ninja, taught the young man how to do karate at a high level, but he taught him by practicing the basics, not about how to fight. And at the end of the day, the thing that came out of that movie was wax on, wax off. And it's become the kind of the mantra for all my ninjas for years. And I am Miyagi. Miyagi taught the young man how to be a champion karate by basics, not by karate. Wax on, wax off. And so to create ninjas, it's all about creating the disciplines of the basics. And to become a ninja, it's about understanding and exemplifying and executing on the basics. Most people are always looking at the easy way. And when I say they're looking at the easy way, they're doing email blasts, or they're just trying to find the easy way. The opposite side of people that are in sales are always getting ready. They're organizing. They're trying to be perfect. Again, both are not productive methods to becoming a ninja. Once you understand some of the fundamentals I'm going to share with you today, it becomes easy. It becomes, in my mind, real easy, but it takes patience. This week, I shared some of the fundamentals to some friends of mine, and they asked me, how did I get this? And I said, the fundamentals all come from one of my favorite books, Swim with the Sharks by Harvey Mackay. Harvey Mackay had an envelope company in Minnesota back in the 80s, and he developed it into a $100 million plus envelope company selling generic envelopes, but gained customers by developing this strategy of relationships. And then the follow through with relationships. So the fundamental you would take from Harvey Mackay's book, or that you should take from today's ninja selling, is it's all about relationships. The second thing it's all about is relationships. And the third thing, when in doubt, it's all about relationships. So people buy from who they like and who they trust. And the product generally has less to do with it. And I've used example after example after example in my career, and I've proved it time and time again that price and product are less important than the relationship. When there's no relationship, price and product can be an impact, but when there's a relationship, people will always go to somebody they trust. So, when you're prospecting, ask how is your relationship. You know the customer, so you're prospecting to people you know could buy. When you know they could buy, you don't go in with a context of if they can buy, you go in with the context of when they will buy. So when you're prospecting customers you know that can buy, that means they're going to buy. You start prospecting based on your relationship. You want to get a 7+ relationship. When you meet the person the first time, you probably have a 1. And by the way, I've done other shows on introduction and referrals. I don't like referrals. If I know somebody could refer, I like to meet with them and find out everything about the customer, so I still get the chance to make my first impression in a cold call versus somebody introducing me. That's a whole nother show, but it works like a champ. Once I find that I have a relationship, and then I want to be 3 deep in every client, that means I want 3 people in that client that I have a 7 or plus relationship. Somebody asked me one day, what's a 7+? Well, 7 would mean they know me if they saw me out at a restaurant or something. I generally know their birthday. I know their wife's name. I know where they went to high school, college. I know a lot about them. And I take time to learn and get to know them. And when I have 7+ with 3 people in an account, I've always gotten the account. And by the way, you didn't hear me say decision maker. You didn't hear me say, I got to know the decision maker. I've actually gotten to know a janitor one time in an account. He ended up taking me into the CEO's office. He had been with the company almost 40 years. He had raised the CEO, his dad, and worked for his grandfather. And he actually, as I built a relationship with him, he said, we should be doing business with you. He took me, marched me into the CEO's office and said, this is Dean. You should be doing business with him. We got to meet each other. We talked, and then ultimately we built a relationship there. And then subsequently, we got their client. We got their business. But it was by being 3 deep, 7 or plus. Some of the tips is cold call. And when you cold call, you want to get to know the gatekeeper. You don't need, I can't tell you how many salespeople go in and say, well, give them my card or whatever. And I get in the car and I go, who was that you were talking to? Oh, it's just the receptionist. I said, you didn't even meet her. He goes, yeah, but she's just a receptionist. So then I get out of the car, march back in, and I go, excuse me, my name's Dean Akers. I want to ask you a question. And they always look up at me like I'm crazy. And I go, how long have you been with this company? Well, I've been here 10 years. How long have you been up here on the front? Well, I've been doing this for 10 years. Now, my salesperson was blowing that person off. What do you know about somebody sitting at the front desk greeting people for 10 years for a company? Yep, if you're hearing this, you're right. They know everything. They know who's stealing pencils. They know everything. And when you build a relationship with them, they're much like the janitor guy I told you about. They will march you in. So you want to, tips are to get out there and cold call. Get to know the gatekeeper. Really get to know them. And when I mean get to know them, don't flirt with them. Don't do anything, whether you're male, female. Get to know the real them. And as you get to know them and you're sending your handwritten notes and all this stuff, they're gonna appreciate you. And one day they'll call you. I had one gatekeeper call me of a big potential client years ago, and I couldn't get in. And she got to know me, and originally she told me there would never be a chance. One day she called me and she goes, what are you doing this Wednesday? And I said, whatever you need me to do. And she goes, show up at this bar at 5:30 and just walk in, and I'll go, hey, Dean. And then I'll introduce you to the CEO and everybody, and we're having a little private thing at this little bar, and you just accidentally drop in, which I did. Subsequently, she goes, hey, Dean. She introduced me to everybody. By the end of the time, I was yucking it up with them, talking to them, getting to know a little bit more about them. 6 months later, I had them as a client. 6 months later, I had them as a client. They were a huge company that nobody could get to. Then do unique touches. If you want to be a ninja, you got to do unique touches. If you're watching the video, you can see it. Here's a Thanksgiving Day card I'm sending out. It says, don't forget to set your scales back 10 pounds this week. Have a happy Thanksgiving Day. I'll send out about 100 of those to people. Now, you could say, does that really work? The answer is yes. People get them. They smile, they laugh, they giggle, but guess what they've done? They remember you thought about them. I send books out. I send books out every week. I buy books on thriftbooks.com. I have some other podcasts on that. And I'll think of something like if their hobby was kayaking or something, I'll buy a book on kayaks and I mail it to their office or to their house if I know their home address. And the reason I do all this is how you really make an impact and actually build some great relationships and some great friendships for life. And oh, by the way, along the way, you get great customers. So financially it pays off. Emotionally it pays off. There's just no downside. Remember, when you're a ninja, it's all about technique. The technique will always yield a close. The operative word here is always. So go out, target those that can buy, and turn it into win versus if. Be patient. Follow the steps to building the relationships. If you want a textbook again that mirrors what I'm sharing, get Harvey Mackay's Swim with the Sharks. It'll change your world, and you too will become a ninja. Thanks for tuning in each week, and remember to share this if it helps you. My book, Self-Talk, Think Like a Child, is available on Amazon. If you ever have any questions, just email me at help@adjunctco.com, and I'll be glad to help you. So this week, remember, wax on, wax off. Have a great week.
We hope you enjoyed this week's show. Subscribe today to our podcast and send questions or thoughts to help@deanakers.com. Also, visit us at www.deanakers.com to listen to prior shows and view helpful videos. Also, great tips to download. Thanks again. See you next week.